Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I'm going to do a three-part series here on installing a vanity for the bathroom. So this is going to be used an Ikea base cabinet for a kitchen, and that's going to be this part that you're watching right now. I'm going to have a second part where I detail doing a walnut countertop for this vanity and how to do the cutouts and all the struggles that I had with the finish. And then finally we'll go into the backsplash, how to do this nice Schluter style trim, and a few tips and tricks on how to get that perfect. So please stay tuned for that. Should be in the next few days that I have the subsequent videos out, so please subscribe and stay tuned for that. So without further ado, let's get this base cabinet installed. Here in the bathroom for the basement remodel or development that I'm doing, and installing your typical Ikea kitchen cabinet into the bathroom. So Ikea doesn't really sell great cabinets for bathrooms unless you want to go with their small sinks. So I just make sure that when I'm designing out a bathroom that I allot for a 24-inch wide cabinet or 24-inch deep cabinet, and that allows me to use any of the standard kitchen cabinets that are available standard from Ikea. So then that gives you the whole range of soft close and all the drawer options, all the door options, all of that. And so you can match to your kitchen or to whatever else. Now, in my haste of ordering the stuff for the basement, I did think that I had enough of the back rail that is typically supported off these guys in the Ikea family of cabinetry, but I didn't have any of that rail. So there isn't an alternate way of installing them, and this is what I wanted to kind of show here. So here I've put a backer board. This is 3/4 inch plywood. I do have another spacer here, just because I'm moving the cabinet a little bit further away from the wall, just because of my plumbing situation here, with the way that the plumbers had it roughed in. And so all you're doing with this, you put the standard bracket on, and then there's this sort of nylon insert that goes in there and acts as kind of a spacer, if you will. And then you can put a screw through this hole on this side and right into the 3/4 inch plywood on that side, and that's the alternate way of securing them. So as I get a little closer here, I'll start filming again and show you how we get that a little bit as we move along. I got 2 screws on this side. I got 2 more screws over here. These are both going into, or all 4 of them are going into studs. So I used a stud finder here to mark the studs, and then 2 going in there. In some regards, this is actually a stronger solution than the Ikea. The Ikea has that metal rail. The thing that I don't really like about the Ikea metal rail is that sometimes, like in this case, we're going to be fastening out here, which is a fair ways from the stud. And there is some flex with that. So here we aren't going to be able to go out to the next stud because we'd be out sort of where the toilet is and past the cabinet. And so you're going to have this overhang. So in certain circumstances, depending on how your framing is, whether you have backing or not, for your cabinets, you're going to run into this situation where your fastening point could be 1.5 feet or a little shy of 2 feet away from where you actually have it secured. The other thing too is the holes in the rail itself. I've had to drill through the metal in places because the hole locations didn't match up to where the studs were, especially when you try to get into a corner situation like this. The hole might be here, and you really need to put a fastener or screw in right at the edge. And so this will provide a lot of support all the way through, regardless of where we're fastening the cabinet. Now, as an extra piece, I have secured a So what I've done is I've put I'm going to have an 1.5 inch gap between the wall and the cabinet for a filler piece, so that when you open the cabinet doors, any door hardware isn't banging up against the wall. So I put an 1.5 inch filler here, and this I'm going to be able to fasten through the side of the cabinet into this, and it'll be pretty high on the cabinet, so it will be hidden from you unless you're lying down on your back. But again, I've fastened that into a stud, so I got two 2.5 inch fasteners going through the first 3/4 inch piece of plywood into the stud, and then I've just glued and tacked this guy on, and then the 2.5 inch screws that I put in through the cabinet will go through this into this and a little bit into the drywall. Really the second fasteners are fastening mainly into this first piece of plywood. Could have gone with like a 4-inch screw or something like that, but you know, as this is additional X anyways, I wasn't too worried about that. So this first 2x4 is very securely fastened into the wall, and then we'll be fastening through the cabinet, through this piece of 3/4 inch, and into this second piece of 3/4 inch plywood. Put the cabinet back in place here, and I've used the leveling feet to level it off. I'll show you in a minute how we do that. But doing this way is fairly simple. So you've got this probably 1/2 inch hole here where you can put your screw in. It doesn't really matter where the screw goes exactly. And then there's these little clips here. And so these just slide over the screw, and then you tighten it down. And then that's fully fastened. So in the end, it'll look like this one. All right, so now we've got it secured in both back corners. Now this would be the typical Ikea as per directions method of installing the cabinets. But I do find that still leaves, you know, a fair bit of wiggle on the front of it. And so that's why I got these, why I put these blocks in the back here, or in the side. And so I'll secure it to the wall on this side as well, and that'll really stiffen up the entire cabinet and get rid of that wiggle. Now one of the reasons for that wiggle is I've got the Ikea plastic feet, so they aren't exactly the most stable thing in the world, but I guess they work, so you know, we'll continue going with them. But of all of the things that Ikea does, the legs for the cabinets are a little cheesy. You know, you really can't stand the cabinets up very easily, you know, without snapping them off if you put them on when the cabinet's lying down. Yeah, just a little maybe subpar compared to the rest of the cabinetry stuff. I think is fairly robust. And so now I got that one screw in there, and that's going into those two pieces of plywood and into the stud. And from a cabinet stability standpoint, you know, you really can't shake it. It's quite solid now. So I would suggest, if you do have the ability to add in an additional support, that you do so. Definitely make things a lot stiffer. Just make sure you do use a shim or something like that, as the walls, you know, this wall here isn't a perfect 90, and so even though we've got it attached evenly along the back, it doesn't necessarily mean that the spacing along the side is going to be the same, and so you don't want to be twisting the cabinet over against the wall. Now we've got this base cabinet installed in this episode. Please stay tuned for part 2, where we'll do this walnut countertop and get the finish and get all of that finished up, as well as install a sink. And in the part 3, we will do the backsplash and all the trim work for that. So please stay tuned, and remember to like and subscribe. Thanks.